Hey guys.
Hi.
You're listening to Not As We Planned, so get ready for
Honest,
raw,
unfiltered,
unhinged story,
where we share our advice, opinions,
and talk about all the shit that people avoid discussing. We want to point out we are not qualified professionals, although I feel like I am one.
and what we say is the advice we would give to our besties.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Back to another episode. I'm actually loving this
I
weather.
know.
I know
Should have given me, doesn't it?
But
Sun.
blue sky.
I saw something that was I can't remember the exact date, somewhere in March, the sun won't set before 6 p.m. and it won't set again before then until the end of October.
The clocks change in March.
Yeah, they
So
fantastic.
yeah. So then it's going to start just.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing with the kids. I can't remember.
But do you know what? Who cares?
Like,
Longer days, lots of days.
100%.
It's nice. Should we have a little catch up?
Mm.
I met my boyfriend's ex. It's really funny because I don't know if you thought this, but when men meet each other, I feel like the normal thing to do is to shake hands.
Mm.
Yeah, but when women meet each other, it's that awkward. What do you do?
We hugged.
You've almost got to judge the situation. I think with men, you're going to handshake.
Yeah, true.
But with women, it's
I'm quite overly friendly with stuff.
but so am I. And I'm quite an affectionate person, but some people aren't huggers, and some people don't want to hug. Anyway,
Where did you meet?
so my boyfriend and I went out for the day with his son.
Right.
He wanted me to come and watch him play football, which was really cute. And then we went to a football game as well. It was really nice, but I literally said afterwards, don't ever invite me in the winter ever again. It was so cold. Anyway, we were then dropping him back to his mum. So said to her, she's going to be in the car. Do you want to come and meet her? And she was like, yeah. And straight away, came up to me and hugged me. And then, when you can relax, you suddenly get that vibe. And honestly, for me, couldn't have gone better. It was so pleasant, really amicable. And I think we probably got that mutual understanding of it is just about the kids. There doesn't need to be any.
There would be each other.
There was no bad feeling. They split up years ago, and yeah, she's happy, he's happy. So it was really nice, and I think now I just feel better now that I know that that's kind of done. And yeah, I think sometimes we build up these situations. We've said it so many times, don't worry about something that hasn't happened yet, because we build it up in our heads oh my God, what if this happens or what if that happens? But I feel more often than not, it ends up being absolutely fine.
Right.
So yeah, that's really my only update. What about you? I like your slippers.
Thanks.
Cherry.
I'm all right. I feel like my life's quite boring at the moment. No, I feel like I've started therapy properly finally with your therapist.
Yes.
Honestly, I wish I'd.
Should we quickly to let anyone know? Anyone that maybe has not gone back and listened to old episodes, there is an episode. I can't remember what it's
one of
called.
the
But
best
her name is in the title. Shelley Whitehead. She is someone that I have been seeing personally for over 6 years. I can't remember how long. And now Carly has just started using it. So go and check out.
I wish I'd done it sooner, but I do think sometimes you need to be in the right place to do it. But I feel like we've just brought up so much stuff, even from before my marriage and stuff. And I don't know, it's just offered me a bit of a different perspective on things. And I think reflecting on my marriage, I've got quite a lot of work I still need to do. Don't want to cry.
Oh, don't cry. Do you know what? Sometimes I actually saw something where it says crying is a way of resetting your brain, and sometimes you need to just let it out. Therapy is emotional.
Oh, I know.
I think one of the things that maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, on maybe observing you, is I think that you are very strong-minded, and I think sometimes people subconsciously avoid therapy because you don't feel the need to unpack things that don't seem like they bother you anymore.
Well, it wasn't even that. I just feel like the last 2 years I've been so busy.
Yeah.
And I am really bad at putting myself first. And I don't know, especially being a single mum, trying to justify, can I afford to spend money on this? Can I afford trying to balance it? And obviously for me, my kids always come first. But what I'm realising is me being okay is actually gonna impact that better. Possibly, I don't know where it's come from.
I think it's good.
It's just been like a really weird couple of weeks, like bringing up stuff that, you know, when you're like, I didn't even know this was such a big thing for me, but it obviously was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, I don't know, like also like having someone sit there and say to you, like, you have been through a lot of trauma in your life, and like, wow, like,
With like actually someone recognizing.
yeah, but like piecing things together. Like I've mentioned before that like I had this like realization about the person I chose to marry. Actually, like looking back at like people I dated before him, he was so random and like completely like didn't have any of the qualities or like things that I'd been like that previous boyfriends might have had.
Do you feel like when you did like meet him and marry him, do you remember feeling like this is the one?
We spoke about this in therapy this week. Like, what was it? And it's so weird because I don't even know what it was. And I don't know if at that point in my life, when I met him, I was in a really bad headspace. I'd gone through something really horrific. And I don't know whether it was just someone paying me attention that was enough, and then you get stuck in it. Because I look back now and all the qualities that are important to me, he never had. Things that, you know, like I am someone that, I'm not going to sit here and slate him, but I don't know, we just had a really weird session where like we were delving into it. It's like, what, and I was like, and then I was like, I'm actually embarrassed for myself that I'm sat here and I can't even tell you what it was. And I look back and I'm like, was I in love, or was I in love with the idea of being in love? Was I in love with the idea? I've mentioned before, like I'm the biggest romantic, and was I just thinking, you know, I'm getting towards my 30s? Like, I don't know. And I don't know. But at the time when we met, I had literally gone through one of the hardest periods of my life. And like, there's no doubt for me that impacted who I chose.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just delving into stuff where you're like sat there, like I was probably crying like most of the session, just like, but yeah. So if you've been thinking about it for a while, I do.
Don't know how to put you on.
No, but I think it's really good. And like, that's it. Like my mission this year is to like get uncomfortable, like delve in, like try and heal trauma that I've carried with me for God, how like 15 years, like, and really try and heal that person I was then, to just try and become like the best and happiest version of me for my kids. So
no, I think it's good.
I think a lot. Yeah, it's as well. I think what I'm realising is every time I have a session, I'm like, right, Carla, you just have to be prepared that you're basically going to cry for like the full hour. And then afterwards, I feel this like massive, yeah, like, I don't know, I feel really focused and validated. And yeah, I just think I'm the kind of person that's just got on with stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's happening to me. I'm just going to deal with it. Like, it is what it is. And I think sometimes you can deal with things too well, and I think I'm one of those people.
It's like, actually, are you dealing or are you burying?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you
maybe what I've done.
Plaster rather than actually having the operation and looking at the cause of the problem.
Where I quickly accepted my circumstances.
Yeah, and you did.
I did, like
really,
weirdly.
yeah.
Very weirdly.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever addressed actually the pain. Not just even that, just was with the man for 10 years. It's the stuff that, and some stuff you don't even remember until you're talking through it and you're like...
Well, it's like when you had that chat with your grandma and all of a sudden she was like, how are you really? And then like you've had that revelation. And I think that things don't come up until, that's why we've always said that journaling is really good, because sometimes like subconsciously something comes up and you're like, oh shit, like that's new.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the time people do put off therapy. I even know people in my life that put off therapy because they openly say, I don't want to talk about X, like whatever that situation is that happened when they were younger, because they're like, because I'm managing it, because I'm doing okay, I don't need to. But I think the sad reality is that's avoiding it, not dealing with it. There is a difference between thinking that you're doing well because you're managing it, or actually are you just masking it and not...
I think for me, I was just really aware of like why certain things in your life happen, and then that leads to that happening. So I want to address the root problem. So I don't want to attract like bad things into my life or negative situations. So yeah, sorry, I don't know where that came from. I was going to say I'm feeling much better this week.
No, but you are. Like, I think, like, therapy is emotional. Like, sometimes you do leave therapy and you're like, fucking hell, like, that was draining. But it's a good type of...
Yeah, no, you need to get it out. And I think as well, like I was thinking, I spend most of my time on my own with my kids, like, and you are putting on the front for them, even if you're feeling drained or whatever it is. And actually, it's not healthy to keep it all in. No. So, yeah, I'm proud of myself that I've done it and like making it a regular thing now. So that's really positive. My kids have been fighting loads at the moment. We had a really big talk about it this week, like just really big. And I was just like, look, like mummy looks forward to her time with you, but this isn't any fun. We've had a really lovely couple of days and they've helped me, and obviously I know it's going to be up and down, but you know, you just had a really nice couple of days with your kids and you're kind of like, I'm really excited it's our weekend together, like Theo's asked going to London and stuff. So
that's cute.
Yeah, I'm feeling, do you know what, I'm just ready for February. We're nearly in February.
Yeah,
nearly.
Yeah, we're nearly there. Another thing that's positive, Blake slept through 4 nights in a row.
My God.
I don't think he has ever, since I was pregnant with Rome, done that. So the one thing so he has changed his medication.
Right.
However, he slept through the night before I changed his medication. However, what I was finding was he's got into this habit of waking up, I would say, like on a good day, it's once. And then he says he's had a nightmare and then he goes to the toilet. So I had a chat with him the next day saying, you're 7 years old. When you call me, so he doesn't come out of his room, he calls me, he's standing at his door. And he's standing at his door next to the bathroom door which has the light on. So I said to him, next time you call me, just go to the toilet. I was like, you don't need me. The light's on.
Yeah.
Go to the toilet. So anyway, one night, calls me, Mummy. I get up. I walk to him. I'm like, yeah. It's like, I had a nightmare now. I need the loo. I was like, okay, well, do you remember what I told you? Bathroom's there. Do a wee, wash your hands and get back to bed. And I literally just turned around and went back into my bed thinking that he was going to start crying. And he just did it. So then the next day I was like, remember, what's going to happen tonight if you call me? He was like, you're not going to come. I was like, I'm not going to come. So you can choose. If you really need the loo, go. If you don't, go back to bed. And every night I now say that. And so far, he hasn't woken me. I think it was just a habit.
Yeah.
He wanted a bit of like connection maybe in the middle of the night. And I feel like I'm not saying that I give him excuses because of his diagnosis, but it is that kind of catch-22 of, is he sort of taking the piss now, or is it that he needs it? And it is hard because I don't want to not give him what he needs, but at the same time it's like, you're standing by the door, just go and do a wee. So far, fingers crossed.
And I'm not going to jinx it, but
okay, so we're both experiencing good stuff. No, we're not jinxing it. We're manifesting it. Jan 2025 is good sleep, and it's going to continue throughout the whole of January 2025. It's on my vision board. Better sleep.
A couple of wake-ups. Like, honestly, it's been so much better. Okay. I have been using the weighted blanket for anyone who wanted recommendations, but make your own decision on that because not being responsible.
Yeah, and I think
that's got to be a certain then. Yeah, so make your own judgment. I used one with Theo a few years ago, so
let's crack on with an email.
Okay. The Other Woman.
Hold on, so this is The Other Woman.
We listen and we don't judge.
Kind of. Go.
Already have. I'm joking. We'll try and keep this short, pretty difficult given the timeline. Suppose I should begin with my marriage. We married in 2018, but our lives together were never easy. Nothing was really. We got together when both single in 2011. He was 16 years senior. From bitter ex-wives to stepchildren in my 20s to wanting my own children and going through IVF a few times, we finally got married in 2018 and welcomed our beautiful twins following our final round of IVF in 2019. We had everything we had ever wanted, so why wasn't I content and happy? When I found out I was pregnant, I suffered severe sickness the whole way through, which sent my mental health spiralling downwards. I continued to take medication throughout my pregnancy, something, if I'm honest, kind of I felt judged for. All I can describe when I was pregnant was an impending feeling of doom and loneliness. I felt lonely in my marriage, and I guess because my mental health was bad, it never really recovered after my pregnancy. I kept it at bay whilst trying to adapt to being a new mum of twins and being shattered constantly. I lost who I was as a person. Fast forward 2 years, going through the ups and downs of marriage and having a young family, I, wait for it, kissed a co-worker on a work night out.
Another one.
So cliche. The wild thing about this story is my husband was on this night out too, but he went to bed earlier than me. I'm all for work hard, play hard. And the next morning I was filled with dread and the fear and made my way down to breakfast. Surely he won't even look at me. What a drunken mistake that was. Well, the next thing I knew, as soon as my hubby left the table, the group came over and I could feel the hands on me under the breakfast table. What the fuck? I got a message later that day. He had gotten my number from another co-worker to say, thanks for arranging a night to remember.
Oh, geez, Louise.
I kept it short and sweet at this point. Then fast forward a few days, I reached out to him. After telling him not to message me, what if my husband sees the message on my phone? Curiosity, I guess, and probably liked the attention I desperately wanted in my marriage. It went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. I booked a hotel within a week and we slept together. We didn't stay, but we had a few hours of fun in the room and then left and went on with our lives. Back to my home I shared with my hubby and my kids. I think from that point I checked out my marriage as I was being so distant, secretive, loving the attention if I'm honest. Looking back now, I think I was pretty vulnerable mentally. I'm not making excuses for my behaviour at all. I just wasn't in a great headspace and quite unhappy with life, so this was a band-aid for me. He messaged me every day, all day. We seen each other when we could, always during the day and in work time. When we could sneak off together, it was always in the car. We didn't have anywhere to go, really. I'll leave the rest to your imaginations.
Oh dear.
Again, not something I'm proud of, but when we were together, it was the best time I had had in years. I was falling in love with him. We knew that we both needed to keep this a secret as we were both clear that we didn't want to hurt anyone in the process. That's just making me feel a bit funny. My marriage continued to suffer and I moved out of my home I shared with him and my kids in August 2024. Well, that's not long ago. We had separated in the May, all the while still in this secret affair with my married family man. He was married.
He's married.
He would tell me he had fallen in love, how we could never be together, how much he thought about me, contemplated life as he would call it with me. This affair continued when I moved in my new house and was always sexual, although the messages all day and all night, every day, even when on holidays, felt like we were in some kind of relationship. We never once slept over in the whole 2 years, apart from one night recently over Christmas. We never seen each other in evenings or at weekends. It was always during work time and throughout the day. He was always so terrified of being caught, and a lot of the time I felt so bad, so just went along with it. He was right. If this was the only way we could be in each other's lives without hurting anyone, then why was it so bad? Back to the only night we slept over. My husband has always been suspicious that something had happened in my marriage, even accusing the person I was actually having an affair with. I denied it, of course. This was not the reason I left my marriage. It was a symptom of my unhappiness, but it definitely didn't help. Anyway, he asked my affair partner straight if something had happened on the night out, which he denied. This was the beginning of the end. He completely freaked out. I kept telling him to end it, but he wouldn't. All of the he can't not see his family every day, it would kill him, etc., etc. I totally understand, but I also thought, what about me? What about us? How could something go from being so intense to nothing? It's been just over 2 weeks of no contact now, and I want to message him with every fibre of my being and tell him I'm missing him. I've not done it. I'm just so hurt now and confused. What's even harder is it's not something I can openly talk about with many people, so I'm kind of alone again. I truly believed he was the love of my life. I still do, if I'm honest. I'm trying to get over this and heal myself, but it's a journey, as you know. I want him to message me so badly. Does that mean I'm a terrible person and I'm not ready to move on? He's made his decision. I get it. I want to be strong enough that if one day he did message me, I wouldn't be desperate to reply. I've been off work for a couple of weeks too, which has possibly helped not seeing him. I dread when I finally do. I don't want to seem broken. I'm embarrassed I let it get this far, but also very sad. And the guilt I have for my marriage ending and my husband is next level. I just want to be happy in life. There is a lot more to this and would be open to questions if needed, but just wanted to let you guys know, even though I'm that girl, I acknowledge that I have made mistakes and I want to be a better person. So thank you for giving me the kick up the bum I needed. I feel quite embarrassed that I was/am that girl, and it makes me sad.
Look, one thing I will say, putting aside whatever wrongdoing, I'm not here to be like, oh, it's your fault, you deserve it. Going through a breakup, having to do the no contact, being heartbroken, it's the worst feeling, and I honestly wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So I can really understand how you must be feeling. And to go through a breakup where you can't tell anyone and have comfort must also be really, really difficult. But I think that, unfortunately, you had an affair with someone who wasn't willing to leave his family. And now these are the consequences of it.
It just shows you, as much as you feel like he was in love with you and he's your person, if someone's not willing to be with you, then they can't be.
Yeah. Look, it's a tricky situation, and not one I feel like we've obviously experienced to be able to. Part of me almost wants to say that, and I don't want to invalidate how you're feeling, because if you think you're in love with him, then you're obviously in love with him. But I'm wondering if it's more a bit like limerence. I feel like he gave you the attention when you felt like you were lacking it in your marriage. Probably it's like a drug addiction. You get that insane dopamine hit from this person. Can you really be in love with someone that you don't really get to spend time with and really get to know on a personal level?
Yeah.
It's the thrill, it's the buzz that you get from doing something that you're not meant to, and then it is like a drug, that up and down, and now you're on that come down of needing to have, you're going through almost withdrawal symptoms. I don't know, I feel like it's obviously a tricky situation because you not live with him, because you work with him, and once you go back to work, you're gonna sort of be a bit stuck.
There's a problem with
don't shit where you sleep,
shitting on your own doorstep.
Yeah.
It may seem fun at the time, but then those people don't disappear and they're there.
And I can imagine that you must feel some sort of not anger, but it's I've left my I've left my husband, why aren't you leaving yours? But this is the problem when it comes to affairs, when you're both in marriages. Sometimes one is willing and the other one isn't.
Yeah, and I hope you do learn from this. I'm not saying this might not have happened if you'd walked away from your marriage earlier, but I know you weren't happy in your marriage before, but I don't believe that's an excuse. Sorry. I don't believe that's an excuse to make it okay. I know you said the affair was a symptom of it. I think sometimes we need, I'm sorry if this is really brutal, but I think we can be really, to make ourselves feel better, put ourselves to justify our behaviour if we're not in the best headspace. But actually, and ultimately, it was wrong. You were married, and whilst you can call it a symptom, it's not, it's a choice. You made that choice every day to message him. You made a choice to reach out to him. You knew it was wrong. And I think we have to accept the ownership and the responsibility of our actions. And my biggest piece of advice would be to really reflect on this and learn from this. You have hurt people and you are being hurt. And I'm not saying you deserve to be hurt, but every action has a consequence. And if you hadn't let yourself fall into this routine, like what Tash said, I don't know, it's the fact you're not even doing nice things together and enjoying things and living a normal life.
You're so secretive and hiding.
Yeah,
And you really love a person.
So I think you need to focus on yourself, be strong. I would, if I was working with someone, I would make sure I'm walking in there with confidence. Like I would be having a glow up. I would be
do stuff for you.
Yeah, and be like, do you know what? You've chosen not to be with me. Actually, that's your loss.
And don't let him have his cake and eat it. I know as much as you're probably desperate for him to reach out, message you, and then you can fall back into those habits. But if he's not willing to leave his wife, you're now single. Like, start making a life for yourself. Like, do the work, heal, and eventually find someone that is actually available. Because I just don't think that relationships that start from cheating are ever going to end well.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is an update from the email that was called My Fiancé that left me 2 days before Vegas because I'm fat. I remember that too. I don't actually remember the story completely. Do you?
Didn't she end up going? I can't remember it, but
okay, so hold on. Hey guys, just thought I'd give you a little update on what's been going on. So yes, you guys were right. He had another woman who he worked with.
Another one.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
He went on holiday with her 3 weeks after he left his family. Sent me a photo of the two of them. Well, you could only see a bit of her. And I was still in denial, saying to my family, that's not the girl. He wouldn't do that. Oh, that's not a girl. He wouldn't do that. Well, he did. He then continued to post pictures of her all over his social media saying how lucky he was.
Ew.
In the meantime, stopping paying maintenance for his kids and not seeing them or contacting them for 3 weeks at a time. Yeah.
How could you be with someone that like disregards their kids?
But I reckon they make out that like they're not allowed. They'll put it all on the ex. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there's many women out there that would happily be with someone that knows that they don't want anything to do with their kids. Like that's fucked up.
Yeah.
We have been doing mediation and it doesn't seem to be working as he's a narcissist and only thinks of himself. Actually, in one mediation, he shouted at me that I need to have some sympathy for him. These men do make me laugh.
So
anyway,
entitled.
And the positive about all of this is that I have learned that I am 100% better off without him in my life. I didn't realise till recently how badly I was being emotionally treated. You don't, do you? Like, we've always said, until you're out of it, you look back and like we've both said, like, it sometimes makes me sad what we put up with.
I feel
sad for me. Like, I want to go and give my old me a hug.
Yeah.
Let's all go and give our old selves a hug.
You literally thought so little of yourself that you just thought this was okay.
Yeah.
No.
No.
We're fucking queen.
Amen. My anxiety has nearly completely disappeared. My home is a happy home. The kids are happier and calmer. I don't ever want my girls to think that that is any way to be treated by a man, and I will protect them from that at any cost.
Yeah.
Amen.
Love that energy.
We always say, if you want to put your kids first, get out of the toxic relationship. There is never a reason to stay for the kids. Like, bring it on. Yeah. It has been 2 hard months with Christmas in between, and I was living on autopilot, but I'm finally content. I'm working hard on myself. A little added bonus is that his bird dumped him.
Oh, stop it.
That is hilarious. Thank you so much for your words. They really have helped me through a horrible time in my life. Do you know what? I really hope that people listen to that maybe in those moments of, you know, those dark thoughts and you don't see how life is ever going to get better and how you ever going to move on from it. That was your person and you're grieving the life that you thought that you were meant to have. It does get better. Like, it's never okay to accept that sort of behaviour. Like, if that person is willing to do things to lose you, then go and get rid. Because I remember, it wasn't obviously just like one day I was sad and the next day I wasn't. But I do remember eventually waking up and this was after more so like the breakup with my ex-boyfriend because it's more fresh in my head. But just suddenly being like, oh, like, I'm actually happy. Like, and like genuinely waking up with a smile on my face and having that like gratitude and being so grateful for the things I've got. And actually eventually grateful for what I went through, because it did change me for the better to be able to show up in the relationship that I'm in now. So just please, anyone listening that is in doubt if they're ever going to move on or get over it, like, you absolutely will. So thank you for sending that. Please continue those updates.
I remember, like, it was this time 2 years ago that my marriage was in turmoil. I was miserable. I was on high alert. I think I was living on like adrenaline. And it just makes me so sad that I ever was in that position. Mm-hmm. But 2 years down the line, I could not be more bloody grateful to
be rid.
Like, you, honestly, like, just recent events, you know, you look back, you're like...
Do you know what else it is? I feel like I remember the anxiety that I had when this is wild. Like, even when I'd get like a random number calling me, or I'd get a DM from someone that I didn't follow, or a phone call, or even a friend being like, I need you to call me. I straight away always used to think something like they're about to tell me like my husband's done something, and just like not going to bed with that dread of like, is he messaging someone else? Am I being cheated on? Am I going to fight? Like, it consumed me. Yeah. I genuinely felt like that was just being my life, and that was normal.
I completely get it. I don't know, I just feel really sad for that person going to bed alone every night, like thinking there was something wrong with them. And like, my confidence in my marriage was so shocking.
Yeah, same. Like, I mean, my ex slept with his phone, so.
Yeah, wild. See, wild.
Crazy.
Are we dating the same guy? Hi, ladies. You may recall reading up my situation towards the end of last year. The two scenarios where men were leading a double life and it was long-distance relationships. To update, I took your advice after my boyfriend was caught out sleeping with his ex, who was, in fact, still his girlfriend when I met him. He's now blocked and I'm getting back to myself. I did start to think about the Are We Dating the Same Guys pages, as my friend has said to me that he should be exposed, as she was convinced he has done this double life stuff before. I haven't ever posted him as of yet because I don't have the guts, but I do think other women should be warned. But I'm also just thinking I'll move on with my life and it's not my problem now. I just wondered, when seeing you post about what we could talk about on the pod, what your views are on Are We Dating the Same Guy pages. I came across it by seeing TikToks about it and had a look on Facebook, and it's safe to say you see it all on there. If you have seen them, what are your thoughts on people exposing people on them? Do you think they are a good idea? Just intrigued to know your thoughts. Thanks, as always, for always being amazing.
I feel like there's a catch-22 here, because I think it's actually very useful, because if you are dating the same guy...
Sorry, can we just pause? How is this even a fucking thing that we have to, like, look out?
Well, that's another thing I was going to say, catch-22. It's like, if you're dating someone and you have concerns, then maybe you shouldn't be with them.
Agree.
But I do think if I found out that I was seeing someone and they were seeing someone else at the same time, I, without a shadow of a doubt, no hesitation, would put them on that website. Like, it's almost like to save other women from going through it as well. Like, I'm all for like women supporting women, and that's what I feel like that page is for. Like, out those men that are fucking scummy, that think that they can just play all of us off each other. No, like, most of the time, these women, like, you know, when you find out, oh, he cheated on me, like, you forgive him and then you like hate on the woman.
You know what?
It's not the woman.
I do also think that, I'm trying to word this because this could come back to bite me in the ass one day. But I feel like unless you're getting some kind of gut feeling that something's wrong, I wouldn't just like start dating someone and then be like, oh, is anyone dating this guy? Kind of thing. No. But like,
I feel like it's more what if you find out.
Yeah, but I
don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I've broken up with him, I blocked him. I would then be quite tempted to put him on there.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like what I've gone through in life and stuff now, and I feel like obviously a lot of our listeners has gone through shit and like, you know, had the wool pulled over their eyes, have been gaslighted. I feel like I'd like to, I'd like to presume I'm the kind of person that would be a lot more sensitive to change and a lot more sensitive to shady behaviour and red flags and less tolerant, and would just be like, nah, rather than having to get to the point that like, are we dating the same guy kind of thing. Does that make sense? Look, I think if you're suspicious about it, absolutely write it on there. Or if you've been done over, at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking more if you find out, like, you know, that woman that was like, he had 6 girlfriends.
Yeah,
I would be like putting him on there. It's almost like, girls, let's team up together. This man screwed me over. I hope he's not doing it to you. I would, if I was with someone dating them and I had a funny feeling, I wouldn't really do it then, because one, if he's not dating anyone else, you look like a fucking muppet.
Yeah.
And two, if you don't have that trust in them, then really I think the answer is don't be with them. You don't need to put it up there. I would only be using that for people that, like, you found out, you've ended it, and now you want to like save other people.
Right. Or like if you're starting dating someone and they're giving you red flags, don't write them there, just ditch them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to invest energy and time in someone who's giving you red flags early on.
Should we put photos of both our exes on that? Can you imagine? Is anyone dating this guy?
No, but I did 5 years ago.
No, I did when he was married.
Yeah,
with 3 kids.
Stag do, yeah.
Oh my God, do you know what? I might have to go and do that. If he pisses me off, no, I'm joking. Banter.
Goes on for affirmation.
Affirmation of the week. If you're dating someone and you're worried they're dating someone else, bin them.
Yeah, if you're getting red flag vibes, throw them in the bin.
If you're, let's go with, don't ignore your gut. If your gut is telling you something, the likelihood is
It's not wrong.
There's something not quite there. But obviously at the same time, let's not mistake gut feeling for like insecurity, paranoid, past trauma.
Well, that might also just be an indicator you're not ready.
That's a whole other story, isn't it? Anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.